You're listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast, where we deconstruct world-class sales performers to provide insights and strategies to help you improve. To learn more, visit us at top1.fm. Here's your host, Scott Ingram.
Today on the Sales Success Stories podcast, it's time for another story from the book, which is also titled Sales Success Stories, 60 Stories from 20 Top 1% Sales Professionals. If you're new to the show, you can also go back and listen to the dozen other sample stories I've shared since we started this series back in June. If you're enjoying these, I hope you'll pick up your own copy of the book for the full dose of inspiration if you haven't already. Links in all the formats and a special offer for you are at top1.fm/book. Now, here's your story from Paul DiVincenzo on best practices versus only practices. Enjoy.
Story number 38, Best Practices versus Only Practices by Paul DiVincenzo. Many of these terms should sound familiar to you if you've been in sales or business for any length of time. Let's see if you recognize some of them. Best practices, role plays, phone block, activity, leaderboards, KPIs. I've been lucky enough to be a top seller at 2 Fortune 500 companies over the past 15 years of my sales career. Every day I have someone ask me what my best practices are for prospecting, selling, managing my numbers, managing my career, etc. I usually let them know it's not that easy and they should focus on the fundamentals for now. Recently, I've been thinking about what I do that really does make a difference. Obviously, my sales success has come with a lot of hard work, and with that, some great recognition internally at the companies I've worked for. It's interesting to watch the same lingo go around and around, mostly by sales leadership and in many cases, business people in general. The one that stands out to me, which offers a significant improvement for people that are looking to excel in sales, is best practices. The reality of sales is that if you stick to the standards of activity, follow-up, professionalism, and great manners, you should be pretty successful. However, if you really want to go from being only average to consistently at the top, it takes creating something called only practices. This means creating significant difference between what only you will do for your customer and the sale. It will push you ahead of your internal and external competition for sustained success. I can't remember where I heard the term originally, but when I did, I knew right away that's exactly how I've been at the top 10% year over year for almost 17 years. I didn't know what I did differently than other salespeople for many years. However, after thinking about it, the short answer is that I'm willing to do more for my customers than anyone else every time to exceed my numbers and make as much money as possible for me and my family. Now, when I first started at Cintas Uniform Sales Division, I took over a territory in the Palm Springs market, which was heavily driven towards hospitality. This includes many hotels and resorts. I focused primarily on selling customers uniforms as a service. This means the company rents uniforms for their employees versus purchasing them. Cintas, we pick up and deliver those uniforms each week, as well as wash, clean, inspect, and repair or replace them to a condition that's wearable and acceptable in a hotel environment. Many of these hotels are 4- and 5-star resorts. This service has a lot of attention to detail, and the back end of the business is highly standardized. In other words, we have a very small and limited selection of uniforms compared to what they could purchase for the purchase options. And when it comes down to design elements such as color patterns, there really weren't a lot of options. In fact, it's a bit of a joke in the industry, however, it's really true, as you can only carry so many colors, maintain that inventory at a profit level that makes sense. I was selling to the Hyatt Grand Champion Resort in Indian Wells, is an area near Palm Springs, California. Although they had some maintenance people that wear our standard uniforms, I was told by the director of rooms that the housekeeping department, typically a purchase-only program, wanted to chat with me. They wanted to wear dresses and matching aprons along with a Hawaiian pattern that needed to be sewn into the garment to match some of the decor of the hotel. By the way, they didn't want to purchase it. They wanted to rent it and have me offer it as a uniform as a service. As I heard the customer describe what they wanted, I almost fell out of my chair because this was unheard of in our industry at the time. There were so many hurdles that I simply don't know where to start. However, the total opportunity of the sale could cover my sales number for just under a full year of sales for my quota. Because I was in such shock, was probably a positive for the strategy. I really didn't talk during the meeting. I simply listened, took notes, let the general manager and the director of rooms at the Hyatt know that I would find a way to make this happen. The general manager's eyes lit up because later I found out he had met with every other uniform company in our area, including one of the top reps from Cintas, about a year earlier, and they all said no just as quickly as I had said I would find a way to make it happen. We shook hands, I left the office, and almost passed out in the 115-degree heat in the Coachella Valley area of Palm Springs. This project was so far outside the norm that I didn't know how I would get it done. It included learning about sourcing garments from across the country and outside the country, working with designers to have patterns made, and gaining consensus internally that our company would produce this garment with a sufficient quantity for us to rent it. I didn't know any of this at the time. I called my sales manager and let him know we had an opportunity to close one deal that could cover almost my full year of sales quota and projections, and that it was going to take something extraordinary for us to get it done. He didn't have a clue what was about to happen. I went home that evening to my newborn son, who was only about 2.5 years old at the time, and I thought to myself, you have to make this happen. You will make this happen. You will find a way. In the following weeks after the meeting, I began to educate myself on all the capabilities of Cintas beyond my day-to-day selling job. I investigated what our supply chain opportunities were, where the dress was being manufactured, how long it took for the dress to be manufactured, how much fabric it would take to create the trim and all the other elements. However, I had no clue what all these were prior to that meeting. I had conference calls with designers, conference calls with manufacturing, conference calls with distribution, and maintained engagement with all those people, letting them guide me with their expertise. As I went through this process, I gained significant experience beyond what I would normally garner and have been able to use that knowledge over a decade after that sale. This knowledge has allowed me to stand out from anybody inside my company or from our competition about this particular category of our business 10 years later. I didn't know it at the time, but the key to my overall success was not hesitating to jump in and learn a significant amount of information beyond my normal job scopes, which will create a unique expertise in me, and I can offer that as value to my current and future potential customers. Pushing yourself into the unknown is the best way to create your only practices for yourself that you can use and have for future against your competition. After my month-long education in the garment business, I was able to gather up all the information necessary, put together a business model, and present that internally at Cintas, and create a pricing structure that didn't exist prior to the sale. I then went to the customer and was able to explain to them all of the elements going into their production model, including hard good design elements and tie back how they wanted the resort to stand out from the vision created by the general manager. They didn't hesitate when I proposed the custom pricing structure that ended up being 4 times higher than any other program in the marketplace. I had delivered as promised, and they approved it within 2 weeks, including a multi-year agreement for services. I made President's Club my first year at Cintas that year, as well as Rookie of the Quarter and Rookie of the Year. That singular experience created a foundation of doing whatever it takes, and I have utilized this consistently in hundreds of other sales over the course of my 15-plus year career with the company. This has helped me earn President's Club and Diamond level recognition for multiple years and has allowed me to be fearless when it comes to looking into the future, creating something new and highly valuable for myself, the company, and my customers. Every day I'm creating, looking, and executing on only practices. By using this strategy consistently, I have been able to uncover new markets for the company, create new positions for myself within the company, and gain promotions and salary increases over the course of my career that other people have not been able to accomplish. This has not only allowed me to be in the top selling ranks in my company, but it's also allowed me to be viewed as the executives as a leading contributor to the growth of the organization. Lessons learned. Number 1, never lower yours or the customer's expectations. Number 2, say yes and figure it out for the customer. This will push you to learn more. Number 3, by learning more and being resourceful, you'll gain experience, tools, and the resources you need, which you can reuse to leapfrog your competition, other reps, and competitors. Number 4, create and track your only practices from these experiences and push to expand so that you will be offering more experience, knowledge, expertise, and the ability to execute on it where your competition will still be speaking in features and benefits and lower pricing.
Such good stuff. Again, to learn more about the book, the special offer, and to join the mailing list, hop over to top1.fm/book. And I'll see you next week with another interview from another top performing sales professional. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast. To be sure you never miss an episode, and for an invitation to our sales success community powered by Influitive, subscribe to our newsletter at top1.fm.